So what is this? What is this? What am I doing? I've been on a 4-year-long book finishing project. It wasn't supposed to be 4 years long, but it ended up being 4 years long. And it involves me having to assemble parts into a book, and there were 500 copies of it. Usually I make the books while watching something or listening to music or podcast or whatever, but I thought for the last 50 it might be fun to jabber instead, to do some talking. About what? I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. Since I only have 50 copies left, I'm hoping to do at least 5 a week for the next 10 weeks and then be done by the summer. So there we go. Begin! This last year, I got diagnosed with carpal tunnel in both hands and tendonitis in both arms. And that's been just like a real challenge to deal with. As you can see, I do bookmaking stuff amongst other kinds of art forms, but a lot of the work involves this motion and like folding motions, lots of stuff in the fingers and the hands. And so it's just really hard to keep up at a certain level of intensity before triggering like nerve pain in my hands. And anyway, like getting carpal tunnel got me thinking a lot about how much we use our hands. Definitely a lot more like body awareness stuff that I maybe wasn't so cognizant of before. And like admittedly I was like super frustrated in the beginning. I was not used to like the reduced mobility. Even right now when I do this motion, there's like a tingle in my wrists, which is not a good sign. One interesting thing that has been happening is that in the condo across the street from my place, there's a unit that someone moved out of recently, and they left the light on in the kitchen. So the unit's empty and the light is on, and the light has been on for a few weeks now. I wonder how long it'll take for the light to blow. Do light bulbs blow on like duration or like frequency of use? You know, like where it gets flipped on and flipped off till it burns out? Or does it burn out just by using up however much power? I don't know how light bulbs work. This is an interesting discovery. I have just discovered that I have no idea how light bulbs work. Done with the glue. This project has made me think a lot about like how books started as a kind of luxury good to be used primarily by rich people as like a sign of class and prestige, and then how they sort of fell materially into this place where they're like built to fall apart. Of course, the stage in between that is that there was rising literacy rates, and the invention of the printing press. Cheaper materials allowed, people to like publish things at a lower cost, and there was a reading public that could now be its primary consumers. But it's always interesting to think about that relationship with the book, between the book and the reading public, because higher literacy rates was very closely related to the public's capacity for being socially or civically involved. At least that's an argument anyway. That revolutions are possible because people can, access information, and a lot of times it's done through reading. Anyway, so I've been having a lot of conversations with people about anxiety recently. But what it's like to live with anxiety, or whether that's chronic or situational. It seems like a lot of folks who are getting older are suddenly dealing with newer symptoms of anxiety, situational anxiety, because of things that are happening in life that are opening up, I guess, opening up experiences whereby your traditional coping systems no longer are able to function properly or process, something like that. I feel like that's just something that will keep happening as we get older, and having the right kinds of tools. Wow, having the right kinds of tools is clearly not the right kind of tool. This is dollar store glue tape. The folly. Should not have bought dollar store glue tape. Let's try this one. Oh my gosh. I'm back. Wrist stretch break. There's a saying that life will only ever give you whatever it is you can handle, and that's just not true. Life is gonna give you some real fucking shit, and then you just gotta survive. That's how I feel about it anyway. Can you hear it? I don't know if you hear it, but it's clicking. And then I think when I got carpal tunnel, some of the anxiety was exacerbated because there were a lot of things that I used to be able to do easily that I wasn't able to do so easily anymore. There's a very specific episode where I was trying to install my cuckoo clock, my Muji cuckoo clock, and I patched a hole that was there in the wall from something else, from a shelf that had been up, and then sanded it down, was ready to drill the hole for the screw that would hold up the cuckoo clock, and then my hand just like spazzed. My hand spazzed, and the nerve pain kicked in. It's this like tingly burning sensation that makes it hard to hold things. And then my wrists got really tired, really fatigued. And it was painful to hold up the drill. And then I cried because I couldn't hang up a stupid clock in my own house. Or I couldn't do it in one shot. I had to like wait a day. It sounds silly when you tell the story, but it did make me think about how much I take my physical ability for granted to do like various things. I need 20 paper clips. Speaking of teeth, I have a little chip in my tooth up here. I can see it. Whatever. There's a little, trust me, there's a little chip in my tooth up here that I got when I was, I want to say 10. I used to swim a lot, and then I would be in the pool a lot with my friends, and then we used to do diving competitions. And long story short, I dived and went straight to the bottom of the pool and hit my tooth on the floor of the pool. I don't know what shape my mouth might have been in to produce that particular angle where I would have chipped or land like this. I don't know how, but it happened. I probably had more of an overbite than I remember that has been fixed with braces, but who knows. At any rate, it's been chipped. It's been chipped since I was 10. And I have an ongoing war with my dentist. And every time I go to do anything at the dentist, they ask me if I want to fill this chip in my front teeth. And I keep saying, no, I don't want to do that because it makes me special. It's a personality quirk. And they don't remember. Every time I go back, they ask me again. I tell them the same thing. I even told them to write it in my notes. I'm like, put it in your notes that I don't want to get this chip fixed because it's my identity. But no, they really want me to fill in this chip. I'm not gonna cave. It's not happening. Woohoo! Almost done. Going back to teeth and anxiety, I now have to wear a mouth guard. And I have a question. For people who wear their mouth guards to sleep, what happens if you have a, if you're dating or you have a partner and you wear a mouth guard to sleep and then get into bed and then your partner's like, do you say, hold on? Or, what do you do? Do you get up? Do you go to the washroom? Do you have to clean? I mean, if you've ever had to take out a retainer or a mouth guard, it's kind of disgusting. Like, does horniness just override that slimy feeling? I don't know, tell me, enlighten me. I would just not wear the mouth guard that night. But then what if you live together? This is a very logistical question, and I'm open to listening to answers. But yeah, I know after I wore the mouth guard, I was like, oh, I see which part of my mouth wants to make a hole in the roof of my mouth because I have like a clear one part of the mouth guard that is like wearing so thin, and it's just this one molar that's just boring up into the roof of my mouth essentially. Who knew? So scary. I seem to have been talking a lot about body stuff. Is that a sign of old age? I do love how millennials are a meme now, like a category of joke on the internet. It's like vibes. I'm okay with that. If you didn't know, your body starts to die at like age 25. Like, I think at that point, before that point, you're producing more things than losing them, and then after 25, you're losing more things than you're producing them, or something, which is why you have to take supplements as you get older or whatever. Speaking of supplements, I've already been told by my sister that I should be eating stuff for my bones. And I'm only 32. It happened so fast. My little homage to the library card. Very cute. Truly, millennials enough. They don't do this anymore with like library books, right? It's all like digitally scanned now. Maybe the world just needs like boring content, like once in a while. So much of my life is spent doing boring routine tasks like this, whether it's like making the books, assembling them, or like packing book orders from my web store, and or making like zines. So I just want to think about what I can do with that time frame. There's nothing wrong with letting it just be production, but I don't know. Maybe because my nervous system has been reset. I'm feeling adventurous. So we'll see how it goes. You want me to talk about anything next time? Let me know. I'll try something new.